Hey guys, this is TGVland. This is for a contest again for one of my friends. Call him my friend, whatever. Jeez, what was your first question? Okay, so I have the funniest story. So, I used to be, I still am, really into Marilyn Manson, and I was looking through, oh my gosh, every video, probably on YouTube, of him. And I was listening to this one song, Tainted Love, and there on the side was a video still of Übers de Welt, and I was just like, wow, okay. They look funny. No. Right? And so I'm just like, I'm not watching that. And I leave and I go to Google because I want to look up a new background still for my computer. And I look up ice cubes, okay? And up pops the same thing. I'm just like, what? Okay. So I type in football, same thing. I'm just like, wow, okay. And then I type in cats, you know, I don't know. I type in lion, I don't know, but they came up everywhere. So I'm just like, okay. So I backed my shit up and I went to YouTube. And excuse my French there, because that was probably a dumb idea. So I went back to YouTube and I was just like, alright, let's watch. So the first song I listened to from them was Rette mich, and translated into Rescue Me in English. I do speak German, so shut up. And so, it was Rette mich, and I listened to it, and then I'm just like, okay, well that was really good, let me listen to another song. So I then went all the way to Tainted Love, Marilyn Manson, and I watched that song, Übers de Welt. And I was just like, wow, that's a really hot chick. That was a really good looking girl. And I was just like, I wonder what that girl's name is. I'm like, Belle? Wow, Belle. What mother names their girl Belle? Right? I'm just like, wow, okay. So, I listened to him again, I'm just like, oh, that's a dude. Damn. Right? And so yeah, so then that's how I first knew about Tokyo Hotel, was off Marilyn Manson, looking up stuff on Google and backing up. And of course the first song I've ever listened to was Rette mich. My impression on that song was I really liked it. It's now my #1 favorite song from them. I do like the stuff off their new album, don't get me wrong. I love that. I actually love their new album the most because, like, I'm into the techno scene and everything, so it's actually really cool. I definitely love Dogs Unleashed, but my first song is Rette mich, and I just thought it was awesome. The whole thing about tilting the scene stage, thing, I thought that was pretty amazing. I tried doing it actually, you know, just like without tilting my house, and oh my gosh, you have no idea how fun it actually is to do. But yeah. What was the third question? Oh. From 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. the next morning, what would I do? What would be my first question? Okay, well, my first question, if I'm at Tokyo Hotel for the day, 24 hours, I can't remember what it was, my first question would be like, 2 hours later, another 2 hours later, and then I'd be like, I'm supposed to ask you a question, aren't I? So, back it up, all the way back, fast forward, rewinding my life, back to the 12 o'clock a.m. and be like, oh my gosh, no freaking way. Of course, there'd be like never ending blush. Okay. What would be my first question would probably be like, oh my goodness, can we like go somewhere or something? Can we go to Germany? And then That would be my first question, actually. Can we go to Germany? Because I would love to visit Germany, and it would be 5 times better if I visited them with them. So we'd go to Germany, fly there extremely fast. I mean, we'd like teleport. If teleporting was real, we'd like teleport, alright? And so we'd be like, phew! And we get there and be like, oh my gosh, I'm in Germany! Woo! And I'd be like, dude! And I'm with you guys, yeah! And then I'd be like, oh my gosh, where, I wouldn't say where your recording studio is, because I think it's in Los Angeles, and I don't think it'd be wise to drive down there since the big one, gigantic earthquake, is supposed to be here soon, so I really don't feel like being in Los Angeles at that time. So, Jesus, I lost track. I'd be like, okay, I'd ask them, what's a really cool place to go and talk for just a little bit? And then they'd be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, why not on the tour bus? I would love to go see your tour bus. And then we go on the tour bus. I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is where you sit and eat. This is where your food is stored. This is where Georg farts, okay? And then I'm just like, and that's where they take a shit. Okay? It's probably stupid to say, but I'm telling you the truth here, okay? I wouldn't be like, speechless. I'd be like, just hit myself with my tread. Wouldn't be speechless. I'd be like saying the worst shit that could ever come out of my mouth. And excuse my French, I can't believe I'm swearing. I'm sorry. It's stupid. But nicht so gut, Kinder. Nein. I gotta go to the Ecke. That was like English and German all mixed together. Oops. And then I'd be like, you know, after talking a while with them, of course, after putting out everything in the tour bus, I would just go all the way over to Bill and be like, can we go to an amusement park? And then if it's a no, I'd be like, can we go to where you live? And then if it's a no, I'd be like, can we drive around somewhere in the tour bus? And I'd be like, woo, tour bus. So we'd be driving in the tour bus, and then I'd like stare at Tom, and I'd stare at Georg, and I'd stare at Gustav, and then I'd stare at Bill. Trust me, I'd stare at him last, because otherwise I'd just be staring at him. So I'd be like, you guys should totally please play me a song, and it should be Red Amish, and I refuse to listen to it in English. I want to listen to it in German. And then that'd be cool if they would play it. And then after driving around the tour bus singing Red Amish and talking about cool stuff. Cool stuff meaning, God, what's so cool? Animals. We'll talk about animals, their animals, my animals, and other stupid things. Like, oh my god, nails, no. No, talk about what it would be like on tour. Me personally, I do have a band, so it'd be kind of cool to hear from another band how the whole thing works. That'd be awesome. And then I'd fly all the way back to my place, and I get a hug. Not from Bill, from Tom. No, I get a hug from Georg just cause he looks like he barely gets any hugs, and I'd give a hug to Gustav just cause he always looks like he really needs a hug. And then I'd be like, to the twins, no, I'm lying, I'd hug them too. In fact, I wouldn't let go. Alright, told the truth here. And then I would be back in my house, and it would be 12 o'clock a.m. by then, and I'd probably be playing Left 4 Dead. To be truth, after that, I wouldn't just be like, oh my gosh, and lay down on my bed. I'd just be like, alright, it's time for Left 4 Dead, give me my Xbox, okay? And that would be it. Hopefully I answered all your questions. Hopefully you got a laugh out of it, because I thought it was funny. And that's it. Bye, Michael.